Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's masterclass. My name is 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿 and I will be your host. This event is proudly sponsored by Graphy. We will be talking on Know Your Worth, Name Your Price. Why negotiation is never about money and always about you. So I'm glad you're here today. Negotiation is an important and sometimes a controversial topic because it is full of unknowns and emotions. And honestly, you should be emotional about your money. Tonight, we're here to give you the playbook to turn those unknowns into knowns, because negotiation isn't just about the organization, it's about you, what you want, and what you deserve. This evening's conversation brings together two leaders who know how to navigate negotiation, not just for their own success, but for the success of the people and communities they serve. Even more, you will get to witness a dialogue between two individuals deeply rooted in true sisterhood, built across industries, fueled by candor, gratitude, and appreciation for one another's work. Without much ado, now let me introduce our speakers. First, we have Chenae Erkerd, a motivational speaker and spoken word artist turned recruiter. Her career spans higher education, healthcare, and technical recruiting, where she's helped hundreds of job seekers land life-changing roles and salary increases. Who wouldn't want that? With a community of over 134,000 followers and 3 published poetry books, she uses her platform to empower underrepresented community to show up authentically and chase opportunities they once thought were once out of reach. Joining her is Alexandria Lexi B. Butler, a principal technical program manager at Microsoft, leading in AI safety and security. With past leadership roles at Airbnb, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. She's also a creator at Sit with Lexi B podcast, a powerful platform exploring transferable skills that shape successful careers. A sought-after speaker and workplace equity advocate, Lexi's insight have been featured on outlets like CBS, Pearson, and Diginomica. And here's the best part, people. Chenae and Lexi first crossed paths when Chenae was the lead recruiter for one of Lexi's open roles. What started as a professional connection has grown into sisterhood, built on trust, laughter, and good old-fashioned community. Please make welcome Chenae and Lexi B. We cannot wait to hear all about your insight. Take it away, Chenae. Take it away, Lexi. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Chenae, can we just honor 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸? Like, that was such a wonderful introduction.
That was amazing.
I know. I usually feel so ordinary, and she made me feel like Beyonce, and I love that. So before we get started in this dialogue, in this discussion, I do want to honor you. And I don't think that we as people, especially Black women, get an opportunity to publicly honor each other. And I think, Chenae, that you are brilliant. I remember when I first met you, I was literally 2 days after maternity leave, and I had to hire someone, and the company works that were like, you have to hire right now or you won't have the role. And the way you walked through the role with me gave me so much grace, because I just got back from maternity leave and probably had no idea what my name was because it was just so much. And then more importantly, the way you advocated for me and just got to know me as a leader and as a human. And so as we picked people to interview, You were just very honest and candid, especially during the negotiation process when I found my rock star. So before we get started, that's my baseline. I just want to honor you and give you flowers that you deserve because I think you're brilliant. And I literally stand on your shoulders.
Thank you so much. Well, I can't take that or receive it without giving the same type of flowers back, if not more. So you all hear me say a lot that it is very difficult to get in contact with the hiring manager. Y'all see Lexi, so y'all see me tag her, you've seen me talk about her, you've seen a picture of her, you were in front of her. She is a hiring manager. And let me be very clear, it is not often that the hiring manager or hiring team, recruiter is a Black woman, hiring manager is a Black woman. It's not often that happens in tech. And so what was interesting was when I got her role, when I was assigned her role, and I saw her, I was like, oh, I'm not sending her. Because normally I would be in charge of being reassigning roles to other recruiters. And when I saw her, I said, nope, keeping this one. Because it's not often that you get the opportunity to hire Black from a hiring team standpoint, but then to also hire a Black woman. And that's what we were able to do. And don't get me wrong, let me be very clear. It was because she had the best skill set. She interviewed the best. Let's be very clear, right? Let's be very clear about that. But I have to give you your flowers as well, because it is not easy to come back from maternity leave to a beast like Microsoft, or to a beast like any big company where the demand is a little bit different, and you're literally standing in the position of a people manager. So you got to come back to individual contributors. You got to come back to executives who you also have to report to. So you took the recruiting process very well. You took my feedback very well. You took my consulting very well. And if those of you who don't understand the recruiting process, the hiring manager and the recruiter have to work in tandem in order for the process to go as smooth and as quickly as possible. Lexi, not only did she respond in a very timely manner, but she gave me her cell phone number. And she was like, if I'm not responding, text me and get me together if I'm not responding, because I know you need to get your job done as well. So she held herself accountable. And so I can appreciate that. But then outside of work, like Amaka said, we became fast friends. Like we met up when I was in the Bay Area, my husband and I, we all had breakfast together. But then we were also able to just talk about life. Y'all, Lexi also helped me through one of the most tumultuous times in my professional career. And so now the fact that I get to sit on this other side and we actually get to partner now is amazing. So you don't do that without sisterhood. You don't do that without being able to come together. But she was a rock when I needed it. Like, she saw me cry, she saw me break, she gave it to me straight, she gave it to me real, but she never made me feel less than being in a corporate space and needing to have space to feel. So shout out to you too.
I thank you. Thank you, sis. So let's get into it. We're going to organize this conversation in 3 parts. 1, resume, because I know that we're here to talk about money, but you can't have money until you know how to market your resume to obtain money. That's
exactly right.
2, then we're going to switch over to the facts. As I tell people, the facts that are on the table, what you can actually bargain in a negotiation. And
That's
then
right.
3, which I would probably argue the most important, is really talking about you as a candidate and how you align your personal values and worth to what you actually want. Because as you and I both know, if you don't know what you want, you are not going to win in this negotiation. So I want to start with you, Chenae, because you are a power rock star recruiter. And I want to ask you, tell me about the resume situation. What makes a resume pop? And why do you need it to pop for a negotiation? I think people know that you need a resume to pop to get the interview. But why is that piece of paper so important post-interview?
Yeah, so one thing I think people fail to realize is, I want to even take it deeper. Your resume, when we can't see your resume, your LinkedIn is also equal as important as your resume. Here's why. I have a client right now who I am literally working with this person one-on-one, talking through. We started with resume tips, and he was like, I need to get my LinkedIn together. I said, don't worry about your LinkedIn till your resume is together. Because if your resume is together, all you got to do is copy and paste. Like literally, don't reinvent the wheel, just copy and paste. And so we got his resume together. He literally copied and pasted all of the content that was on his resume onto his LinkedIn. And now his LinkedIn is blowing up and he is now interviewing like crazy, and it happened quickly. So one of the things I want to completely get everyone to understand is your resume is important because your resume is our introduction to who you are. We don't understand who you are because we don't know you personally. So we need to be able to have a very complete, clean, and concise resume that pretty much introduces you to the recruiter and the hiring manager. And here's how you do that. For those of you who have your resumes up, because I did tell you to bring your resumes. So for those of you who have your resumes up, please feel free to follow along because I am going to take you through step by step quickly. And then what we'll do is we'll switch over into the negotiations process, as Lexi said. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull my resume template up. We're going to go through this step by step together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you line by line quickly. And then that way you understand how to do it. Because I think one of the things that I've learned with resumes is if you don't show people how to do it, telling people how to do it is not going to matter. So here's your free masterclass of getting your resume together. For those of you who have your phones, take a picture. Take a picture. Put right now. Hurry up. You got 30 seconds. Take a picture. 1, 10, 30. Got it. All right. Now here's how this is going to work. Your resume should be as clean as possible, meaning we don't need fancy templates. We don't need all that extra stuff. Lexi, as a hiring manager, one of my current VPs as a hiring manager actually said, why do people put these resumes together like this? Like, I don't fully understand. We can't read it. Lexi, as a hiring manager, did we not have that conversation?
So many times. And also, I don't have time to read it, right? Because people also, I think, they forget that when you are working at these big companies, especially in the environment that we're in with job instability, you have 20, 30,000 resumes coming in. I remember the job that we were working on, it had over 15,000 resumes. So you need to give it to me
1,500. It was 1,500 and we can only pick one person.
Exactly. And so you have to give it to me straight and quickly. That's it.
So here's what she means by straight and quickly. Name, city and state of your residence, phone number, email, LinkedIn profile link. Be very, very clear. Y'all, this does not need to be big. I don't know why everybody has their name all big at the top of their resume. We can see it. Put it in 12 font. We can see it because it's only taking up space. So whoever resume writer told you to put it big, it's okay to put the font size small. We can see it. I promise we're not blind. And for people who have some type of visual impairment, trust me, they'll be able to tell who you are. And we have all the technology that will help us to understand who you are. So you don't need your name really, really big, just jumping out on a page. So your professional summary or your career objective, you do not need both. Pick one. Your career objective most of the time are for entry level, new grads, people who are coming into the workforce, or it could even be people who may be pivoting from one industry to the next or one type of career to the next. So you do not need both. Pick one. If you're pivoting or you're just new in the workforce, go ahead and go with your career objective. Your professional summary is probably where most of you will be on this call. Your professional summary is literally going to be what your skill set is, what you're good in, what is your impact, and then where you're trying to go. All of that should be no more than 6 sentences. If you have a hard time cutting it down, put in ChatGPT, put the whole paragraph in ChatGPT and say, make this more concise, or speak to the tech industry, or speak to a sales role, or ChatGPT will help you simplify it and cut it down. Again, I said you don't need both. Literally, you only need one or the other. Your skill section, which is where most people mess up. Your skill section, it needs to be very simple. I want hard skills. Everybody's going to write communicate. Everybody's going to write writing. Everybody's going to write oral. Most likely we see
relationship building, good
relationship building. We see all of that.
Yeah.
We see all of that. Trust me. Everybody's going to say communication, relationship building, all of that. Trust me. Everybody in the world is going to say that. What we want to know is what are the most hard skills that you can put on your resume and put up here. For the technical program managers, these may be vulnerability type of languages or terms. These for software engineers, these are going to be coding languages. For sales professionals, renewals, or some type of go-to-market position, this is going to be security, technical sales, or this may be some type of cybersecurity language like EDR or identity access management. It may be cloud technologies. We need to understand what are the hard skills that you can pull out that speak to the job description. Then we need to be able to attach whatever skills you put here needs to be explained here. There are many people who will list a whole bunch of skills, but it doesn't tie into the explanations of your actual experience. If you go on any of the career sites that you find on any company, most of the time they will say something like, when I was at Microsoft, it was like 4+ years of experience in Java, JavaScript, C#. For Lexi's position, because it was a principal role, they asked us for like 6 or 7+ years in certain type of technical program management languages, or some type of terminology, or some type of vulnerability. Because we were in security specifically, it was security languages. So if the candidate that we chose, if she had skills up here, and then she tied where she used those skills into each explanation of her jobs. If she didn't do that, we wouldn't know how many years of experience she has with each type of skill. So if you put a skill here, it needs to be explained here. If it's not explained here, there is no point of putting it in your skill section. Again, if you took a picture, you'll see I literally put in bullets what each bullet should say. 4 to 6 bullets. Give me the very most important things at the top, and then explain at the bottom what was the impact based on these things that you explained up here. If you can't tell me the impact, there's no point on putting a job duty that has no impact tied to it. At that point, you just taking up space. Make sure y'all with me. Give me a thumbs up if you with me. Give me a clap. Give me a something, because I'm talking fast, because we got a lot to go through. Yes. After that, okay, very good. After that, your education. Now, here's the argument. If you're new in career, your education should go at the top. If you're a professional, experienced professional, it doesn't matter where you have your education. It could be at the top, it could be in the middle, it could be at the bottom. We'll find it. Trust me. Your certifications, everybody's not going to have certifications. If you don't have certifications, that's okay. Take it off. National organizations, for me, I'm a Delta. I put Delta on my resume. There are some people who are not a part of national organizations. If you're not, that's okay. You don't have to have them. Volunteer experience, you can change volunteer experience to projects. For those of you who are trying to figure out how to upskill and all of that, and you're doing projects, change this section to projects, and then tell how you're using those projects in your everyday and where you're upskilling yourself. I had a hiring manager that said that he don't always look for software engineers who have degrees. Sometimes he's looked for software engineers who have programming language where they're using open source to continue to upskill their coding skills. So these may be some of the things where you can kind of finagle at the bottom, but your experience is where you're going to spend most of your time. If you don't know how to put your resume together, there's literally no point in y'all trying to negotiate a salary when you cannot, or you have a hard time with explaining why you deserve that salary in the first place, which is why your resume needs to be on point.
Amen. Amen. So let's just go ahead and get into the negotiation stage. What are the money things that candidates could be offered or ask for? What's on the table? What's on the table?
The money, the cash.
The money, the cash.
So we're talking about base salary.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about sign-on bonus. We're talking about stock, right? So there are many people in the world who don't understand that there is a difference between base salary and total comp. I'll be very honest. I didn't know that until I got into tech, because healthcare, we didn't get sign-on bonuses in healthcare and higher ed. So it wasn't until I started doing a little bit more research on some of the things that I knew I wanted to make in the tech space, or my next position, where I needed to understand how money actually works and where it sits. So you can negotiate your base salary. You can negotiate a sign-on bonus. You can negotiate your stock. Here's the thing though. If you negotiate, there are many times where in your negotiations as recruiters, we may only have the approval to go to a certain space. For one of the examples is, Lexi, the candidate you and I were recruiting, I remember the person was going to take a pay cut if we didn't go, a significant pay cut if we didn't up the sign-on bonus and the stock. And so I remember saying to you, yeah, we're not gonna land her if we don't go up because she's taking too much of a pay cut. And I remember you and I talking it through and needing your approval first before I could go back to her and say, this is where we need to actually go when it comes to the landing her as a candidate. So then the idea of that was she negotiated her sign on. So we were able to double what I initially offered her. And then we were able to negotiate her stock in order for her total comp to make sense to leave her the role that she was leaving to come into the role that we were trying to recruit her for. So your cash base salary is what you can negotiate. Stock or sign on is what you can negotiate. And then you need to understand how your sign on can be taken. You can take your sign on bonus all at one time. You can take your sign on bonus in increments. You can take your sign on bonus however you want to take it. Here's the thing that you need to know. If you take your sign on bonus in a lump sum, Lexi, what happens?
It's taxed at a really, really high rate.
It's taxed at a really, really high rate, and you don't see the money you thought you were taking.
Yeah, it's about 40%. So I always tell people, look, number one, and this is not a money conversation directly, and maybe we should do that, Chenae, but your money can't be funny, and you need to think, even if you don't have money, you think that you do. If you ask for a $50,000 sign-on bonus, you are going to get maybe $30,000. So you need to figure out, one, what are you going to do with this money? And if the thing that you want to do with it is $30,000, you need to ask for $50,000. If you are going to use this sign-on bonus for a down payment on a house, and depending on where you are in the world, and you need $100,000, then you're going to need a $175,000, $200,000 sign-on bonus. And for people who are listening, just know that in the tech industry, a $200,000 sign-on bonus is a regular Monday. So this is not crazy money in the industry specifically that we work in. Regardless of whatever industry, your bonuses will be taxed at 40%. So be very careful about that.
40%. And there are 40%. Some people, to be honest, who can afford that. There are some people who, to be honest, is like, whatever. I think the highest sign-on bonus I had ever given was $220. And the person was like, oh, I could just put that into an account and it can just grow. Just casually, like you said, on a Monday, just casually.
Because understand something, if you know the game and you know how it's played, and again, if you want 30K, you just ask for 50K. Or what I do is I ask for 100K because I'm like, we're going to have to go back and forth on this, right? So I can get to 50, so I can obtain my 30 in cash, and then I can invest it, whether it's a high interest savings account or that kind of thing. But I've seen a lot of people, Chenae, and I'm sure you have too, that ask for a $20,000 sign-on bonus. And when that 12K hits their account, they are very much in their feelings.
They're very much in their feelings.
That is not all of your money.
But the thing is, we tell them in advance. We tell them, just know that if you take this lump sum, it's going to be heavily taxed. They don't care. Where if you break it up into 2 or 3, then it's not as heavily taxed. So, Lexi, let me ask you, how has your resume helped your negotiations?
Immensely. And I'll be very frank. I keep my LinkedIn updated more than I keep my actual resume. And so when I am ready to look for a job, I will update my resume. A dear friend of mine, who I think is on here named Kiana Shelton, told me this years ago. We were babies in college. And she said, the goal in life is to never have to look for a job. It's for someone to call you. And I have never forgotten that advice. And that's how I've built my career. So real talk, my resume is not updated until I'm actively looking for a job. And I've been very grateful that in the past 10 years of my career, whether or not I was secretly looking, I got a phone call. But you need to be able to say it with your chest, what you do and why you do it, especially if you work for companies with very high profile names, because capitalism loves competition. And so what I've learned from my resume is that sometimes people aren't even looking at my actual skill set. They're just like, oh, she worked at this company, and this company. And just like the NFL, we hate them. So we're going to take her because we're excited for her to announce that she's at our company, right? And so this is also a game of ego. And as soon as you know that, you can also play with that a little bit in your negotiation. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. I think you're right. I think just the idea that the nature of the companies you've been attached to, one, you must be credible. And 2, now people can actually say like, oh, she worked for us now. It's a flex. Totally agree.
And for the record, I am good at my job. Full stop. I used to not want to say that. I am good at my job. Chenae, you are also very good at your job. So
let's be very clear.
Full stop. And the day that you can say in the mirror to yourself and really mean it, I am good at my job. Also, that confidence comes in the negotiation. Chenae, let's switch gears a little bit. So we both know that it's more than money. It's more than cash, right? It's more than signing bonuses and base pay and possible stock and, you know, how you negotiate up front your possible annual bonus. Let's talk about benefits and perks. Because a lot of people, Chenae, they get their they get their check and they're like, oh, I'm making this much money. And they're not really looking at the benefit package. From your standpoint as a recruiter, let's talk about benefits and perks. What can you negotiate with those? Because you can, and most people don't, but you can.
You can. Here's the thing, though. You can only in certain companies. Not every company you can negotiate non-cash benefits. And part of that is because depending on the established company, that established company may have benefits that are aligned to every single person, which means that every single person gets the same amount of benefits. So some of the public benefits are like with Microsoft, they have Perks Plus, that's public information, or a 401k match and stuff like that. So that's also public information. So you'll, in your benefits, you'll get most companies, a 401k match, you'll get a perk of some sort. And that perk means anything that is related to some type of wellness or you taking care of yourself, the company will reimburse you. So one of the things I used to do with Microsoft is I used to have to pay my vet bills. And so I would take the receipts from my vet bills and take them to my company and they will reimburse me in a paycheck. Or there are times where you will buy new shoes. And if those shoes are for wellness, then they will pay you back. Or it was also like hair, manicures, pedicures, eyebrows, massages, anything wellness related is something that you want to consider. If you're not getting the money you're looking for, please understand that the benefits is what's really going to take care of you in the long run. So if your benefits are on point, most people go to the company for the benefits and they don't mind taking the pay cut because the benefits is what they need for their family. So some of the benefits y'all are looking for to go into, again, 401k, your Perks Plus, when do your medical benefits start? Those are that question you want to ask. For some people, it starts day one. For some companies, if you are about to start in the middle of the month, sometimes it'll retroactively activate for the beginning of the month. So you want to understand when those medical benefits start. You also want to understand whether does the company have an HSA? You want to understand if that company has an HSA, is there a max and what the company will contribute to your HSA in relation to how much you'll contribute to your HSA. You also want to know what would possibly be the copays of certain things, which means that depending on the package you choose, there's a lot with benefits that you all need to understand. And there's also the understanding of going back to the cash benefits. There are also, you need to understand which stockbroker you're going to use. Are you going to use I think it's Morgan Stanley or Fidelity, right? You need to understand which rates are going to be better, who's going to be more effective with your money. It's so much with a benefits package that you all need to understand that if the money may be a little funny, that's because the benefits may be the best and top notch. So sometimes companies will trade better benefits for not as much money, but if you're making more money, your benefits may not be that great.
Agreed. I think for me, so I have a rule in my spirit. Okay, Chenae, I never take a job that is not going to pay me at the very least of what I'm getting paid right now. Yep. But then life was lifing. And for folks who don't know, I was actually at Twitter when Elon took it over. So I respectfully left that company. And at the time, my husband and I were starting a journey of trying to become parents. Also, fun fact, there's a lot of fertility benefits at these companies. And having a child is very interesting. It's really $0 to create a child, or it's over $100,000 to create a child. There is no middle. And so when I was looking for a new job opportunity, I went for a company that paid me significantly less in money, but for the record, not so significant that I couldn't pay my bills and couldn't live my life. But on paper, if you compared my Twitter salary to this new company, it was a different number. But I went because, honestly, of the insurance and the fertility benefits, because I had just started a fertility journey. And I was like, I don't want to afford this out of pocket. So let me go over here, align my personal life to my professional life. Let me do this. Let me see where it goes. And then we'll go from there. And so that was against my natural rule, but it worked out in my favor.
So I do want to understand, just from the benefits perspective, and then putting that with the cash and you understanding you're getting married and you're trying to build this family and all of that. Tell me, what was it about your kind of first negotiation? Like, what did that teach you when you first negotiated your first salary?
So I didn't negotiate my first salary.
Neither did I.
Which is a really bad idea. Don't be us. I did not negotiate my first salary. I went to a company, there was a new college grad program, and all the new college grads got the same amount. But fun fact, my last internship in college, I interned at Ralph Lauren, and I interned for the head of PR, like global PR of Ralph Lauren. And I used her as a referral for my first job. And little did I know that when they talked to her on the phone, all she said, it was very like Miranda Priestley from A Devil Wears Prada. She was like, you should hire her. And what are you paying her? And they said, we're paying her 70 grand. And she said, you need to up it or I'll tell her not to come. And she clicked. And so I found that out, and they gave me the maximum that they gave new college graduates was $80,000, which in the Bay Area, that is not a lot of money. And that's when I started realizing that I was not making a lot of money. And then I started meeting other new college grads, realizing we were all not making a lot of money. And then the quest was, who can I find to help me learn how to negotiate? So the job that I get after this job, I am making more money. And that was the lesson that I had to learn. Yeah.
So, so now I have to ask a follow-up question, because you mentioned, because that goes to mentorship. That goes to mentorship, that goes to sponsorship, that goes to community. So you're saying that mentorship and community played a role in you being able to have the confidence to ask for what you are worth.
Mentorship and community continues to play a role in my salary. I don't negotiate my salary, Chenae.
I love
what
it.
do I look like? What do I look like?
Love it.
So what happens is that when I'm looking at a new job and I'm very serious about it, here are the people that I call or text. I call my financial advisor. Shout out to Baron. And I say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. And when you first start your interview prep, it's not intense negotiation. It's just like, are we going to meet at the similar place? I can offer you $100 a year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And if you're like, I want 200, then we are definitely in two different ballparks and we have to lovingly part, right? So I already know a number in my head, high level of my base, and I confirm it with my financial advisor. And then when it's time to actually negotiate after I get that role, Chenae, I hit at my financial advisor. I send him all the numbers. Here's the base. Here's the RSUs. Here's the stock. Here's the signing bonus. Here's the possibility of an annual bonus. If I get a C on the test every year, this is how much I'll get. If I get an A, this is how much I'll get, etc. I send it to him. I send it to my husband because I am married. So he also has a say in this. And then I also send it to a really, really good group of friends and colleagues that I've just met over the years in that community. And I tell them all, negotiate my salary. And so usually the number that I end up with is because 10 or 12 people behind the scenes are involved in my salary discussion. I literally send the numbers, and then within 24 hours, I have a response. And then I call the recruiter today and I'm like, hey, this is what I want. And then most times recruiters like, well, we'll think about it. And I'm like, okay, so while you think, this is what I will budge on and this is what I won't. Let me know. So I try to make negotiations as simple as possible, but I allow other people to do it for me. And I'm just the messenger, because honestly, as confident as I can sound, sometimes I'm not. And sometimes it's really hard to be like, I want more money. So I allow other people to hype me up and say, you need to go ask for this amount and we're not accepting anything less. And that's a big thing that I've learned. Yeah.
I'm that person. I'm that person for people. That is me behind my screen most of the time.
You need to have an inner circle. And I think that we don't have an inner circle because capitalism has taught people that you shouldn't talk about money.
Absolutely.
I've made more money. I have increased my bank account more when I talk about the money. And you will be shocked the number of people who are like, oh, we're going to talk about money. Bet. This is how much my friend's cousin's shepherd's cat made at that company. And it is $20K more than what you're asking for. and they were 2 levels below. Fix it. So having that inside community really helps you to level set. And I think it also gives you the confidence. When you find out that people are trying to cheat you out your money, you become a different negotiator.
You become a different person. I always tell people the couple things you don't play about my man, my kids, and my money.
Amen.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what's interesting. What's interesting is we're on this topic of community. So Bianca in the chat, I'm gonna put you on the spot. So Bianca is part of my community. Bianca came to me one time and was like, I'm ready to look for another job, right? And I was like, and this was a while ago. So I was like, Bianca, and this is at a point where the market, it just sucks. So I asked her, I said, do you really need a job right now? Or you want a job? 2 different things. Because we have people in the world who need a job. Do you need a job right now? She said, no, I just know I want to make more money. I said, that's fair. But do you need a job right now? She said, no. I was like, cool. I need you to sit tight. And I need you to do these things behind the scenes while you're sitting tight. Homie did that for like a year and a half. Homie is making more money than she could have imagined because community said, chill for a second. Chill for 1 second. Make sure we're in a place where we're able to negotiate higher and we're able to do this in a way that makes sense. But we can't do this off of feelings and emotions. Because if you do, you're going to end up slapping yourself on the foot. So I love that so much.
Yeah. Shout out to Bianca. We forgot to add, I want to make sure people understand sign-on bonuses. A lot of companies, especially when you're talking about $50K or more sign-on bonuses, because let's be clear, $50K is a lot of money. Okay. If you leave that company over a certain period of time, they're going to ask for it back. They want their money back.
So please read your offer letter.
They don't want the tax version. They want the full check. So what I always tell people is when your sign-on bonus comes to the bank, you need to have a special bank account, high interest savings for your sign-on bonuses. You need to think about what you're going to do with that money once it's 100% yours. And so I've signed sign-on bonuses, Chenae, where it has said, we will ask for it back if you are not here for a year. I literally go on my calendar in a year and a day. I start playing with my money through investments, through real estate, through things personally that I'm like, how do I take this money and make more money? But whatever you want to do, and I've seen a lot of people mess up, sis, where they take that signing bonus and they go do something with it, and then life happens and they have to leave the company and they don't have the money. Pay it back.
Yep.
So my biggest recommendation,
I tell people all the time, please read that offer letter. Read that offer letter, because the offer letter will tell you if you don't stay for a year. Some companies, if you don't stay for 2 years, we need you to repay your sign-on bonus. And again, we want the gross part. We don't want the tax net part that you got. We want our money back. Exactly. So don't think y'all just gonna go through these sign-on bonuses and leave the company and then act like y'all just rich off the sign-on bonus.
No. Somebody gonna want their money back. Before we continue, Amaka, are you ready to do the graphy spiel?
3 things, and I want the graphy slide to come on, but before that comes on, top things here. Attract, don't pursue. Just be a high valued individual. Continue to get that skill and own your story, own your ground. The next thing is, don't jump on the next bus if it's not raining. You just wait and get on the bus that's going where you want to go. I'm waiting for the graphic team to get my slide on, but this is fire. This is so amazing. The last thing from the chat, I always tell people, be a pro in your career. Every pro has got a coach. They've got a team behind them. Look at the athletes, same thing. So you've got to have your team. And I will be waiting for the graphic team to bring on the slide so that we can talk about Graphies are sponsored today, and we want to introduce an amazing offer. Can we put this on full slide? Yes, gotcha. So today, amazing sponsor for this event is Graphy, a platform that helps you to monetize your expertise, and we are bringing to you the Part 20 Bootcamp. as we go ahead, we would look at 5 steps in this boot camp. You've got experience, even if you're just starting out. There are so many people, thousands of people who want to be where you are. So you've got something to share. If you can repurpose, if you can re-envision where you are and what you have. Next slide, please. We would look at the 5 steps that you're going to gain when you come into the Graphy 20 boot camp. The first is that you will be learning from industry experts. And what does that mean? They will walk you through what it means to create a niche for yourself, recognizing your niche, moving beyond that. What does it mean to even research your audience? Who do you want to serve? And more importantly, who you do not want to serve? Very key, because you cannot serve everybody. And beyond that, you will be given amazing tools. There are tons of free tools that we're all paying money for. But if you have information, information is currency. That's what you get from the experts. And not only that, you also get hands-on experience. Even for those who are technical, I always say, if you did not build the product, sometimes you need some guidance to navigate the system. So that is also something that you will get in the Graphy 20 bootcamp. Again, this is about monetizing your expertise. And do not say for a second, I'm not an expert. You are steps ahead of thousands of people. So remember that, and your journey, it's better started yesterday. The second best time is today. In that bootcamp, you would also leverage Graphy as a platform. And I'm saying this to you all because I've got a community on Graphy, and trust me, I got on Graphy after much research. The best part on Graphy is the support that you get, and I've let them know that about all of their offering. So I think step 5 is just sweetening the deal, launch and shine on Times Square. For a number of us that want to be out there, that's something to think about. Next slide, please. Let's look at our bootcamp alumni. So this is not just something fresh off someone's idea. This is something that has been tried and tested. We've got Ash and Nick, who has built a community flipping furnitures on the Graphy platform. They've been bootcamp alumni and have made over $25,000 within 45 days. That is amazing. Trust me, that can replace some people's income. Not only that, Beyond School has also done the same thing, over 600 courses. You just do the maths, multiply how much they must have sold each course. And then we have Ruth, who has gone out there to serve over 5,000 women. You just may be called to serve your community. Whatever it is for you, you need to come alive with your dream, doing the things that you're passionate about. So this is a platform, this is a bootcamp that you should consider doing. Whether you have a 9 to 5, a 9 to 5 is not a 24/7. So you've got 5 to 9. Do something with those 4 hours. It all accumulates because it's all a matter of compound interest. So give me the next slide and let's look at the numbers, because for some people, the numbers will do it for them. Over 240 people have enrolled and 197 have graduated. That shows a high graduation rate, which tells you that there is value for you to keep this number of people in there. But not only that, Graphy also allows you to launch webinars, courses, and membership. Like I mentioned, I use Graphy and I launch a monthly webinar. This is having done my time at Microsoft and the likes, and trust me, the benefits you just heard is not all. You need to study the benefits to even get advantage of the benefit. So, but beyond that, you could launch webinars, you could teach people what it is to get into tech. Something like that, you could really put that out on Graphy. So amazing. You have webinar functionality, meeting functionality, tons of functionalities, even doing your email campaigns, marketing, getting third parties, and the likes. And, we've got the numbers racking in. Let's move on to the next slide. Yes. What is in it when you decide to join Graphy? I'm excited to really offer this because I've personally gone through the bootcamp and it's sure value for me. Trust me, I love to amplify the things that I know that provide value. So within 1 month, you would actually learn not just how to create a website, but it is also bundled with a course builder. If you want to coach, if you want to present a course, because you've got to codify your expertise. Do not let it just live in your head until that expertise is outdated. You've got to codify it and put it out there. I like to tell people that when you think about a platform like Graphy, you're thinking about building your digital headquarters where you bring everything together, not just sitting on LinkedIn, on Twitter or X or Instagram. Those are the platforms that belong to others. You need to create something that you own, and ownership is a big topic for us in our community. And so you need to think about that. You've got your email marketing, unlimited pages. I really want to get to the best part of this, but within this bootcamp, you've got 4-day, once a week within a month, exclusive promotion. There's tons of things. We've talked about it. The key thing here, if you miss anything, is support. If you're in doubt, there will always be support. I have paid, use Graphy, and they respond. Before I said, you know what, I want to amplify this amazing deal. Let's get to the best part of the page. Can I get the next slide, please? So this is the best part. I always say those who pay attention. What will it cost you to get all of this benefit? The bootcamp price typically is $4.99, but if you want to reserve a spot today, it is $20, and $20 is also money back guarantee. So if you feel you've been pressured, or you've loved the way Amaka has spoken, and then you've just doled out your $20, you can get it back if you, after the initial call, it is $20 money back guarantee. However, if you decide to proceed after your initial call, you would be paying a balance of $29 to make it $49. And that is what you will pay instead of the $4.99 price. And so that is it for the price. If you want to do that, the Stripe link is in the chat. Please, please, please invest. A mentor once told me, if you want the lion's share, you need to have a lion's heart. So invest in something that could really enrich you, and not just you. Think about your community, think about what you give. And so this is about the slides that we have, and I will give it back because we have tons of questions and I want to hear the insight on those questions. Tons of benefits, and trust me, you've got to say these numbers to yourself over and over again before you can go out there and demand for 200,000, 300,000. Get comfortable with the numbers. Think about unlimited vacation in some companies. So I'll give it back to Lexi and Chenae. This is amazing. Keep going. We want to hear more. And for those who are interested, please keep signing on while we complete the session. Awesome. Take it away, Lexi. Take it away, Chenae.
Thank you. So I know that we only have 9 minutes, but Chenae, I really want to go into our third portion, which is really about knowing your worth and claiming it. Because none of this stuff works, sis, as you know, unless the candidate actually knows what they want and also why they want it. So my question to you is, how do you decide what you really want out of a negotiation? Because you have to prioritize all of these things. In a perfect world, you could have all of them, but you and I both know you're never probably going to get all of them. What is our advice to folks on how you decide what you want?
I think what helps is when you build a good relationship with the recruiter, right? So one of the things that I've learned that helps candidates understand how comfortable they can be with asking for money is when they know the recruiter is going to be real with them. I am one of those recruiters who, if you build a relationship with me, I'm gonna tell you off gate, I'm not gonna be able to get there. I can get as close to it as possible, but based on these things, I'm not gonna be able to get there. And I do that in the screening so that I don't waste your time and you don't waste mine. And so I think the level of comfort in really understanding what you're asking for, it comes in a number of different ways and different buckets. It's, did you read the salary transparency statement on the job description? Because there are many times where I'll screen people or make an offer and it's totally outside of the job description's salary transparency statement that we talked about. So then I feel like you're trying me, right? At that point. The second thing I look at to understand is, if you ask me what the pay is, that lets me know you ain't read the job description, because if I know it's there. So it's all about building the relationship with the recruiter and then saying, all right, Chenae, real talk, I have a family, because the people have used this. I have a family. I may be the sole provider of my home. I am putting my brother through college, all the things, right? Tell me what you need from me so I can land you as a candidate for this particular role. If you can get comfortable with me as your recruiter, then it helps with understanding how much you want. And that may be as tangible as, and this is not a little bit of money, but a $50,000 increase. It may be possible, right? Then on the other side, you have, I am not comfortable with my recruiter. If you're not, test them. Tell them how much you want. Because if you're not comfortable with the recruiter and the recruiter gives you a terrible response, they're a representation of the company. So then you ask, do you really want to work there? So y'all have to stop getting out of this. And I hate to say this, so take it with a grain of salt. This pick me mentality. I completely understand that we are in a stage of the market where I need a job, but y'all cannot do this with the pick me mentality, because hiring managers, recruiters, and other interviewers can sense that pick me mentality. So even if you feel that way, you have to go in there with the confidence of understanding, Lexi, I want $200,000 and I'm not budging. Can you do that?
And as a hiring manager, as Chenae knows, I want you to have all the money. Like, Chenae has worked with
because it ain't her money.
It's not my money. So I want you to thrive. I want you to have all the money. As a hiring manager, when I pick you as a candidate, I will be like, ask for everything but the kitchen sink. Like, I want you to have all the money, because first and foremost, like, I would ask for all the money, and I do ask for all the money. So I want you to have that as well.
And I want to, Latifah said, you're a real one. A lot of recruiters work with the corporate budget. Don't trust me. Just because I'm a real one don't mean I don't work with the corporate budget. I am still very much with the corporate budget.
Oh yes, we have to. We have to.
We have to.
I can't go outside
Y'all just
budget.
don't know that I'm working with the corporate budget, but I have to.
Right. Yes. I also think it's important that people. I want everybody to have therapy 2025. Okay. Because it's important for you to really understand you and what is important to you in whatever stage you are in your life. As a person who has been to many of these large tech companies, at every different stage of my life, at every single company that I've been to, Chenae, you can literally ask me, Lexi, what was the thing that you needed from this company? And all of them are different, because I was in a different stage of my life, right? I remember I was working at a company. I was interviewing for a company, and I was in a serious relationship that is now my husband, and we were getting more and more serious. And so we had talked about possibly getting engaged, and I told the recruiter at that company, they said, what do you want? And I said, I need as much money as possible. And he said, why? And I said, because I may or may not be getting engaged in the next year and a half. And so this is my last opportunity to bankroll my single life. So I need as much money as possible. For me, it was about the cash. It wasn't about the RSUs. Probably a little short-sighted now that I look back on that. But the point was, that was the moment in the season that I was in my life. And so I really want people to really start, before you start talking about money, it's easy to say, I want more money in a capitalist society. I think it's very important to see where your life is. Forget about the money. Ask yourself, where is my life right now? Money is a tool. And then what types of money can I gain from this negotiation to specifically help me with very specific things in my life in the next 2 to 3 years? And a lot of people don't do that.
Fatima asked a really good question. She said, what are some things you shouldn't say during a negotiation that can sabotage your negotiation leverage? Oh gosh, y'all, if you absolutely know that the recruiter has done their absolute best to get you everything that you asked for, and you still asking for more, we are irritated, right? Because not only are you trying, don't get me wrong, you should be trying to squeeze as much as possible. Please understand that. But don't come across as ungrateful. I've had so many candidates that have come across as ungrateful, because then you also have to understand, we may have silver medalist candidates behind you. We may have bronze medalist candidates behind you. So number 2 and number 3, if you don't accept this offer. So there may be times where you may hear a recruiter say, you know what, maybe this company isn't the best fit for you. I can't tell you how many times I've said that and people go, oh, yes it is. Never mind. I'll take it, because y'all don't think that we won't say that. And the thing is, it's not a matter of you shouldn't ask for what you think you deserve. It's when we've literally given you everything you've asked for, and for some reason it's still not enough, even though we thought on our side that we were good. Because then y'all have to understand that it's our metrics that's on the line based on if you accept this role. So we're going to do our best to get you every single thing that you ask for. But if you asking for everything under the kitchen sink, even though you didn't perform for everything under the kitchen sink in your interviews, it makes no sense to us. So another part of that, Fatima, is you have to perform in your interviews. There is no way that a hiring manager is going to give you a $200,000 salary if you interview like you deserve $50,000. If you don't perform in your interview, don't ask for more money. If you know you didn't do your best, please don't ask for more money. If we give you feedback saying that you didn't have the best interview, but they still want to take a chance on you, that tells you may not have a lot of room to work with, but they still want to take a chance on you. It doesn't mean we're going to lowball you. We, meaning me. I can't speak for everybody. It doesn't mean that we're going to lowball you. It just means that y'all have to perform. If you don't perform, you don't really have a lot of room to have leverage.
And can I add to that, as a hiring manager, and y'all not going to like this when I say it, but as a hiring manager, do not let me find out that you were rude or inconsiderate or acted outside of home training.
For those of you who follow me, I say that all the time.
Don't have me find out. And for the record, that is me specifically. I can't speak for all hiring managers. But as Chenae knows, I think, Chenae, the first conversation we had, you said, what are you looking for, Lexi? And I said, somebody with home training. Remember? I hire for home training. I can teach.
And your boss told me not to send him assholes.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. Direct quote. Knowing him, he did. Directly. I hire for home training. And every recruiter that knows me. I will turn down candidates who are good for the job, who do not have home training. And the reason why that is that I no longer hire junior level roles. And so when I am hiring you, I expect you to be able to walk in rooms and be a very good beacon of hope and excitement and enthusiasm, and professionally check people, because sometimes they need to be checked. But if I find out that with any of my people that are on that interview panel, that you have been rude to my recruiter, it's a wrap. You have to have home training before you step at my door. And that's a very big thing for me. And I take it very seriously on my team. And it just so happens right now that I work for someone, as they just said, who takes it very seriously for his team. Yeah.
And I will be very frank. I tell y'all all the time, we're at time, so I'll just say this last thing. I tell y'all all the time, the hiring managers, especially if they have a good relationship with the recruiter and they trust the recruiter, the hiring manager will ask, how was this candidate at the very beginning of the process? Were they rude to you? Because if they were, tell us now. So please understand, y'all may not have the best recruiters. The recruiters may suck. Trust me. We understand, because if the recruiter suck to you as a candidate, trust me, they suck to the hiring manager. Trust, it goes both ways. The hiring managers know. There are many recruiters who the hiring managers don't like. On the other hand, though, if you know that they suck, but you're still a really good candidate, stay in that. It may be annoying to you and you may feel like you're playing the game, but keep your confidence and keep your composure, because you don't want to go off on the recruiter and then the recruiter give a bad report, even if it's not fair.
So with that said, unfortunately, we have to close. Thank you, Chenae. Thank you, sis, for being here. Thank you for answering all of my random text messages all throughout the night, because that does happen when I'm up at 2 a.m. not sleeping. I'm like, oh, I have a question about this. Chenae knows the answer. And I also just want to honor, Chenae just bought a house. And so we need to celebrate that, because buying a home in this market is really hard. So I want to celebrate you for that. Folks, please follow Chenae on LinkedIn to get all of these recruiter tips and tricks. Please sign up for Graphy. Thank you so much for hosting us. Please follow me on LinkedIn. I don't discuss recruiter tips and tricks. I'm not a recruiter, but I do discuss what it looks like to build a career and have development and things like that. And then lastly, as always, wherever you are in the world, be safe, stay moisturized, and stay hydrated, and have a wonderful, wonderful morning, evening, or night. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, Chenae.
Thank you so much.